The first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, known as Arjuna Vishada-yoga, comprises 47 shlokas. It starts with the blind king Dhritarashtra requesting his advisor Sanjaya to narrate the events of the Kurukshetra War, which Sanjaya begins with the divine power granted to him by Ved Vyasa. Sanjaya's narration begins with the account of how Duryodhana, the eldest prince of the Kaurava clan, approaches Drona, who is the teacher of the Kauravas, and the Pandavas, and provides him with a detailed description of the commanders and warriors on both sides of the battlefield. Then Bhishma, the supreme commander of the Kaurava, blowing his conch to raise the morale of the warriors. This is followed by Bhagwan Krishna blowing his conch, the Panchajanya, and Arjuna blowing his conch, the Devadatta. Many warriors from both sides join in with their own conches. Arjuna, who is riding in his chariot with Bhagwan Krishna as his charioteer, asks him to take the chariot to the center of the battlefield so that they can survey both armies. However, upon seeing his own relatives and loved ones on the opposing side, Arjuna is filled with despair. He questions the point of fighting for victory and pleasure when it requires him to fight against those he cares for. Arjuna laments the unrighteousness and sinful nature of fighting against his own teachers and family members. He concludes that this internecine conflict would only lead to the destruction of his family and adharma, all for the sake of gaining a kingdom. He reflects on the consequences of his family's downfall, including the abandonment of traditional rites, impiety, the suffering of women, intermarriage, and the deprivation of his departed forefathers. Overcome with despair, Arjuna sits within his chariot and sets aside his bow and arrows. He expresses his willingness to be slain unopposed and unarmed by the Kauravas. It shows how Arjuna faces a moral dilemma when he has to fight against his own relatives in a war that he considers unjust and cruel. It also shows how Bhagwan Krishna prepares him for receiving his teachings by exposing his ignorance and attachment. The chapter reveals the human condition of suffering and confusion that can be overcome by divine guidance and wisdom.